Welcome to the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood's webinar, Second Time Around, Strengthening Parent-Child Attachments and Creating Lasting Generational Impact Through Circle of Security. We now shall pass it over to Diana Reyes, who will give instructions on how to access interpretation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Diana Reyes y daré instrucciones sobre cómo acceder a los servicios de traducción para el seminario web. En la parte inferior de la pantalla, haz clic en el icono, el globo terráqueo que dice traducción. Seleccione el idioma que le gustaría escuchar. Para español, haz clic en español o SP. Vuelva a hacer clic en el icono, el globo terráqueo y seleccione silenciar audio original. Voy a poner las instrucciones en el chat. Gracias por acompañarnos.
Thank you, Diana. And now passing it over to the Deputy Commissioner of the Office of Early Childhood, Deb Fliss.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Today's presentation includes a keynote speaker, an overview of Circle of Security, personal stories, and a panel discussion. Our topic provides an opportunity to highlight the work of doulas and Circle of Security in support of pregnant mothers who have been or are incarcerated. The team you are about to hear from today has dedicated themselves to helping parents and caregivers understand and meet their children's attachment needs. Their work is visionary and concrete. Their stories are powerful, and they are powerfully changing the lives of children. To begin today, it's my privilege to introduce Craig Washington, the District Administrator for the Connecticut Department of Corrections. He has worked for the department for over 20 years. He oversees 6 of Connecticut's 13 correctional facilities. Since 2005, Mr. Washington has worked in varying roles, starting as a correctional officer, serving as a treatment officer, a lieutenant, a counselor supervisor, deputy warden, and now district administrator. His leadership extends beyond Connecticut through military service as a team leader, a squad leader, and a platoon sergeant for the United States Marine Corps. He is also active at the community level, volunteering his time in support of youth enrichment and development, as well as holding leadership roles within organizations that uplift and support communities through scholarship and service. Thank you, sir, for your service and your leadership and your presence here today. Welcome, Mr. Craig Washington.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for you all being here today. I'm deeply grateful to the Office of Early Childhood for the opportunity to speak with you today. It's an honor and privilege to speak to you about a partnership that's not always visible to the public, but yet plays an overwhelmingly important role in shaping stronger families, safer communities, and brighter futures across our state. Today, I want to highlight the relationship and the collaboration between the Connecticut Department of Correction and the Office of Early Childhood, two entities whose missions may seem worlds apart to the public at first glance, but in reality, they intersect in powerful and impactful ways. I think to really appreciate the significance of this collaboration, we must understand the core missions of each organization. DLC is obviously responsible for the custody and care and rehabilitation of individuals who are incarcerated with hope and skills. However, beyond confinement, DLC is deeply committed to reducing recidivism, supporting rehabilitation, and preparing individuals to successfully reintegrate into society. Now, on the other hand, OEC has a mission statement that reads, to partner with families of young children to advance opportunities to participate in childhood policies, funding, programs, support early learning and development, and strengthen the critical role of family providers, educators, and communities throughout a child's life. We build upon strengths of all families communities to ensure access to OEC resources. Now, when I read this mission statement, what I hear and what I'm reminded of is this old timeless adage, which is it takes a village to raise a child. That village is a village of parents, caregivers, educators, providers, community stakeholders, who all play a critical role in a child's life. OEC is dedicated to ensuring that young children, particularly from birth to the age of 5, have access to high quality early care and education. But OEC's work centers around building strong developmental foundations, supporting families, and ensuring that every child enters school ready to succeed. At first glance, these missions may appear dissimilar, but when we look deeper into the core of these two agencies, we find a shared goal in strengthening individuals, strengthening families, strengthening communities for long-term success. The intersection between DLC and OEC is deeply rooted in a simple but powerful reality that we don't always make the connection. But that connection that we always seem to overlook is that the connection that many individuals involved in the correctional system are parents, and oftentimes parents to young children. Behind every incarcerated individual is a family. There's children, there's caregivers, loved ones who are directly impacted by the incarceration. In Connecticut, just like many other states, thousands of children experience incarceration of a parent at some point during their early developmental years. These children face unique challenges such as emotional stress and trauma, disrupted attachment and bonding, many times financial instability, increased risk of developmental delays. But this is where the partnership between DLC and OEC becomes not only appropriate, but essential. The collaboration between these two agencies is grounded in a joint commitment, a commitment where we're looking to break cycles and create and build opportunities. Rather than viewing incarceration as an isolated event, this partnership recognizes it as part of a broader family, a community situation. By working together, we can aim to support healthy development of children with incarcerated parents, strengthen support parent-child relationships even during incarceration, provide parenting education and resources to justice-involved individuals, ensure continuity of care and services for children and families. This is more than just a set of programs. It is a new commitment to new beginnings. It's about changing trajectories. So what are some of the key areas of collaboration between OEC and DLC? Well, some of the few areas where collaboration making a tangible difference would include parenting education and support, which is one of the most impactful areas of collaboration. Many incarcerated individuals are deeply motivated to maintain relationships with their children, but oftentimes they lack resources, confidence, or sometimes the knowledge to effectively do so, especially from a distance, especially being, within the facilities. Through partnerships supported by OEC and DLC, facilities continue to offer parenting and co-parenting classes, like the multiple 8-week series led by Doug Edwards at Cybulski, with the support now retired Deputy Warden Aisha Muckman and OEC Jen Wilder. These efforts help parents understand the developmental needs and equip them to be present emotionally, practically, even while being separated from their children. Beyond the classroom, OEC and DLC nurture connection through meaningful experiences, such as family dances, paint and sips, where children and parents create memories together. And yes, juice boxes were included with those paint and sips. Daddy and Me play dates, reading with dad, 24/7 dad's program, and many others events at NYI. Now, I know we're focusing on York today, but OEC is a lot bigger and hits so many other children outside of those parents who are at York. These programs help parents understand the developmental needs of young children, and it empowers them to play a positive role in their lives, even while incarcerated. Maintaining a connection between a parent and a child is so critical, particularly in the early childhood when attachment plays a foundational role in development. Through collaborative efforts, DOC and OEC have improved the quality of visitation by creating child-friendly environments across the facilities, enabling meaningful communication among parents, children, and caregivers. OEC has donated or has assisted with the donation of a myriad of items at various facilities. Items such as furnishing the maternity tier at York with refrigerators, pumping and milk bags for breastfeeding mothers, interactive toys and games within our visiting areas. As stated before, at York, breastfeeding mothers are supported by nurturing their newborns, including an opportunity to breastfeed during visits. Doing so enhances and reinforces the mother-child bond in ways that echo far beyond the walls. OEC and DOC encourage parents to read to their children, to stay present through words, gestures, and consistent care. These efforts are not just symbolic, but they're transformative. A child who maintains a healthy emotional bond with a parent is more likely to experience stability, resilience, positive developmental outcomes. Now, eventually, the parent will go home, will re-enter society. And when this happens, the transition home is a pivotal moment, not only for the individual, but also for their family. Through collaboration, the agencies connect families to early childhood services, support access to child care and early education, provide resources for stable housing and employment, and encourage ongoing parental engagement. And I probably messed up the name, but the Lucy Banning House in Bridgeport. It's a house that can house 5 women with children from 5 years old to or younger. But this place provides high quality childcare, family counseling, parenting skills, job placement, and training and services that support thoughtful reunification. When entry planning includes early childhood and family stability, outcomes are stronger for everyone. Now, why is this collaboration so important? Well, the answer lies in both compassion and evidence. Research consistently shows that children with incarcerated parents are typically at a higher risk for adverse outcomes, including academic challenges, behavioral issues, mental health concerns, the potential involvement with the justice system. But research also tells us something equally important. These outcomes are not inevitable. With the right support, strong and steady relationships, stable environments, access to quality early childhood services, children can thrive, even in the face of adversity. This is where the partnership between DOC and OEC makes a critical difference. It shifts the narrative from risk to resilience. At its core, at its foundation, this collaboration is about breaking intergenerational cycles. When we, OEC and DOC, support parents in becoming, when we support parents and becoming more engaged, informed, emotionally connected, we are not only helping them, but we're also helping their lives of their children. When we invest in early childhood, we lay the groundwork for a lifelong success. And when these efforts are aligned, the impact is exponential. We move from incarceration to rehabilitation, from disruption to stability, from risk to opportunity. Data and policy, they matter. But the stories that are behind this collaboration, they move us. They move us to act. They move us to continuously act. The true impact of collaboration is best understood through the lives it touches. In full transparency, before I became a district administrator of District 2, which includes York, I did not know or even heard of a doula, just to be honest. But now, being in this role 2.5 years, and now after hearing some of the amazing work doulas have done and continue to do, I could describe a doula as being dedicated, open-hearted, unselfish, loyal, attentive. Perhaps I could say deeply present, offering comfort, unshaken in moments of need, lighting the path through the unknown, anchored in empathy. How about a daily giver of strength, one who listens without judgment, understanding when words fall short, lifting others through vulnerability, always there and always steady. Now, needless to say, this is a group of amazing and selfless people from empowered beginnings who show up for mothers in some of the life's most vulnerable moments. We have seen or heard the harsh realities that pregnancy and delivery can bring, made more complex by incarceration. In one heartbreaking case, an incarcerated mother experienced a stillbirth. A doula who I believe drove over an hour to the hospital to sit with the mother to provide comfort, support, and encouragement. This is what partnership looks like in action. This is a partnership with intention. Our collaboration flourishes through Mommy and Me and Daddy and Me initiatives at York, Cybosky, NYI. And through these events like family dances and with music, balloons, and refreshments, movie nights, the aforementioned paint and sip gatherings, backpack drives. These moments are made possible by the teamwork of OEC and DOC. Even the details matter. For instance, we have been beautifying our facility lobbies, softening institutional edges to create kid-friendly atmospheres that welcome families from the moment they enter, understanding that the environment shapes emotion, emotion shapes engagement, and engagement shapes outcomes. Through these stories, through these real impact stories, the impact becomes clear. It is realized that it's the parent who learns not only being physically present is important, but also being mentally and emotionally present for your child is just as important, if not more. It is the caregiver who receives the support and guidance and helping them create a nurturing and stable environment. It is the child who enters kindergarten confident, supported, ready to learn, despite the challenges they have faced in their early life. These are not abstract outcomes. These are real human stories of resilience and hope. Now, of course, no collaboration is without challenges. Between the two agencies, there's different agency structure, agency administration changes, as DOC is going through one right now. As we all know, there's funding constraints. The complexities of working across systems can present obstacles. But there's also a broader shared stigma surrounding incarceration that impact families and willingness to seek support. But within these challenges lie opportunities. There's an opportunity for us to be more innovative, opportunity for us to expand access to services, to deepen our partnership roots, to advocate for policies that support and uplift families. The work is ongoing, but the potential is limitless. As we look to the future, the collaboration between OEC and DOC can grow and evolve. Opportunities such as increasing access to early childhood programs for families impacted by incarceration, expanding virtual communication tools to strengthen parent and child connections, enhancing data sharing to better track outcomes and improve services, building stronger partnerships with community organizations. By continuing to invest in this partnership, Connecticut can remain a leader in recognizing the importance of family-centered, cross-system collaboration. So today I leave you with this. Collaboration like this does not happen by accident. It is destined. It is willed. It is willed when compassion for others exudes from our core. It requires vision, commitment, willingness to see beyond traditional boundaries. It requires us to recognize that public safety and child development are not separate issues. Rehabilitation and prevention are deeply connected, and that supporting families is one of the most powerful ways to build stronger communities. Each of us, whether we are policymakers, educators, service providers, community members, we all have a role to play. So what can we do? We can advocate for continued investment in these partnerships, support programs that strengthen families, raise awareness about the impact of parental incarceration, and most importantly, approach this work with empathy and understanding. The collaboration between Connecticut Department of Correction and the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood is powerful. It's a powerful example of what can happen when two agencies come together with a shared purpose. It reminds us that even in the most challenging circumstances, there's an opportunity for connection. There's an opportunity for growth. There's an opportunity for transformation. Typically, accountants will say, if you show me your statement, I'll show you what matters to you. It's evident here in this collaboration. The shared energy, the shared determination and compassion between OEC and DOC reminds us what matters. It reminds us what's important to us. When we invest in our children and their families, we invest in safer communities and the success of returning citizens. Through our shared compassion, our collective focus for clarity, data-informed action, we can break generational cycles of various trauma. We are shaping the future of our state through resilience, through learning, and by creating opportunities for Connecticut's families. It's my wish that my words today shared with you refuels you. I hope it fuels progress, fuels inspiration, and fuels strength. The collaboration between DOC and Office of Early Childhood shall always be strong, shall always continue. It's a difficult job that we both do, but it's a meaningful job when we see the work that we put into it and the successes of these families who benefit from it. I just want to say thank you to the Office of Childhood for inviting me today to share my thoughts. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Craig, the thanks goes to you. Thank you so very much for your powerful message. It's so inspiring to hear your words and your words from experience because you're seeing it. And I'm just struck by the many, many nuggets that you shared from shifting the narrative to risks to resilience. That is so powerful. And certainly, your quote, building families is the most powerful way to build communities. Thank you for reminding us of the power of our connection with the Department of Correction. We so value that. We so value you and your leadership. And thank you for all that you're doing to inspire us to invest in our children and working together with families in doing so. You are a blessing. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. Thank you. Oh, my. And with that, we will continue to hear from sources of inspiration inspiring this work. It is now my honor to pass the microphone over to Dr. Luz Rivera and Michelle Ramos. Dr. Luz Rivera was a primary prevention services coordinator at the Office of Early Childhood, and Michelle Ramos is a counselor supervisor of Circle of Security at your correction institution. And the both of them highlight the purpose of why families matter, why connections matter, and will tell us more about why we are here today. Michelle and Luz, thank you so very much for being with us.
Thank you, Lorna. So I have the honor and the blessing to speak to you all about the work that is occurring at your correctional institution. Together, we're building pathways for women impacted by incarceration and championing a strong start for children. Next. Today's presentation will highlight the important work, transformative work, taking place at YCI with a focus on Circle of Security, model offered by Empowered Beginnings Doula and home visiting program at Lawrence and Memorial Hospital. Also, the birthing hospital for women at YCI, and highlighting additional group support and services. Next. The Office of Early Childhood is a state agency that brings early childhood together, all programs under one umbrella, grounded in the belief that all children deserve a strong start, regardless of the family's circumstances. OEC funds the Circle of Security programming, doula services, and home visiting at YCI, and made possible through strong partnership at the state and local level. Each partner plays a vital role, from state leadership helping shape the vision, to the frontline staff working directly to support the women impacted by incarceration every week. Next slide, and I will turn it over to Michelle Ramos.
Hi, I'm Michelle Ramos. I am a counselor supervisor at York CI. I oversee programs and treatment, VIP volunteer services, and the the pregnancy tier here at York. Just to give you a brief overview, we currently house around 850 inmates, and we can house up to 1,100. We manage pretrial and sentence offenders. We have an inpatient mental health, medical, and inpatient drug treatment unit. Our Worth unit focuses on the needs of our 18 and 25-year-olds, youthful offenders, 14 to 17-year-olds, and of course, the pregnancy, postpartum, and pumping unit. Next slide, please. All the women on the pregnancy program are housed together on a dedicated tier. This creates a supportive environment where the participants can bond and navigate shared experiences. On the tier, It is located near the medical unit, ensuring convenient access to appointments with the on-site OBGYN. All staff assigned to this housing unit become familiar with the population, helping to ensure proper protocols are followed and residents receive the correct nutrition and appropriate meal trays. The tier is decorated with educational posters on pregnancy, labor, nutrition, and lactation, encouraging peer discussion and continuous learning. Empowered from within. This is our doulas that meet weekly with prenatal and postpartum residents, providing pregnancy, birth, and lactation education and support. Some of the parenting groups that we have here at YCI, we have Caregiver and Me and Mom and Kids, which is essentially a extended visit with bonding, crafts, activities, games that the parents can share with their kids. We have Storybook and Click, which is also engaging parents with their children through literacy. And of course, we have Circle of Security, which you will learn more about in today's presentation. Next, please. Just to give a brief overview of what our pregnancy tier looks like right now, we currently have 13 women who are here that are pregnant. One is in postpartum status. We have 3, actually 4 now. We just had somebody come in the other day and they are all pumping. We have had 2 births since December, and just between December and February, we had 12 participants in the Circle of Security group, and we have 2 more groups that will be starting in a couple weeks. To give you an idea of the number of residents that come through here that are pregnant, in the fiscal year of 2026, just from July till now, we've had 63 individuals come through our doors pregnant. Not everybody knows until they get here that they are pregnant. And once they are here, they receive information and guidance and support through their journey. One more thing that is beneficial to our residents is if they are eligible for any type of early release, they may be able to go to the Lucy Bainey Halfway House. This is located in Bridgeport. We currently have 1 mom residing there for reunification with her child. One is waiting to transition over to the mom and children side. And we have 2 moms here at York that are approved, waiting to be released to the program. This program allows for parents to reunify with their kids while they have support for childcare, job search, and continuing education with the Office of Early Childhood during their stay there. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Michelle. So what is the Circle of Security Parenting Program? It is a global model, actually. It's an evidence-based approach used worldwide for more than 20 years to help caregivers understand children's emotional needs. Over an 8-week series that uses videos, reflection, small group discussions, caregivers learn to see everyday moments with their children in new ways. They begin to recognize what a child is really asking for. Is it comfort? Is it connection? Is it space? Is it time to explore? And how their responses support secure attachment. Caregivers also gain insight into their own triggers, how stress affects their reactions, and how to repair moments of rupture and disconnection. This model has been especially meaningful for women who have experienced trauma or incarceration, helping rebuild stability, trust, and healthier relationships. Research shows Circle of Security strengthens parent-child attachment, reduces reactive stress responses, helps improve emotional well-being for both the caregivers and children, and is used across various disciplines and settings, early childhood, child welfare, and beyond. Because its core skills is seeing the need and responding with connection and repairing rupture are universal. Next. Circle of Security in Connecticut is facilitated by Empowered Beginnings, Doulas, and also the home visitor team at Lawrence Memorial Hospital. Groups are open to all moms, prenatally and postpartum, and also mothers who are parenting and staying connected with their children and ready for reunification. The program is to deliver over an 8-week series since 2025. 60 mothers have enrolled and 57 have completed the full series. Each cycle ends with an expressive art project that reflects the mother's growth and hope for the future. What we've learned so far, reported by the mothers, they have stronger attachment with their children, increased confidence, and motivated to stay on a healthy path. Mothers have described more self-forgiveness as they recognize their children's behaviors are not meant to hurt them. Surveys show also that they reduce the shame and guilt and greater healing and improve relationship building skills. Next. Empower from Within also offers prenatal, postnatal, labor and birth supports. They cover topics such as childbirth education, safety, self-advocacy, and prenatal attachment. Help mothers connect to their baby and understand early bonding as foundational. For postnatal groups, they're maintaining and strengthening mother-child bonds. They include communications with caregivers, maternal mental health, early development, and connection strategies as letters, photos, and routines. In terms of labor and birth, York medical staff notifies Empowered Beginnings when labor begins, and the doula meets the mom at the hospital at L&M. Doulas provide continuously emotional and physical support, often essential for mothers who would otherwise labor alone. Close coordination between YCI leadership and the lead doula for Empowered Beginning ensures a seamless care approach. For post-birth supports, doulas also take photos of the mom, support them with breastfeeding, and offer daily support with pumping, questions, and creating a transition baby book. Each unit has a dedicated breast milk freezer, and all mothers receive an electric and/or manual pump. Doulas provide weekly education and support for pumping, milk storing, and breastfeeding. Doula supports ensure that mothers at YCI are not navigating birth or early bond alone by providing continuous guidance, emotional support, and practical resources, from prenatal education to postpartum connection. This approach strengthens maternal well-being, promotes healthy infant development, and preserves the critical bond between the mother and the child, even within the constraints of the judicial system. Next. Nurturing Families Home Visiting at Lawrence Memorial Hospital. Have an assigned home visiting coordinator that meets the mother during prenatal groups at YCI. Why is this important? Because the mother becomes familiar with the individual who she's going to connect at the hospital before she arrives for her labor and birth supports. She shares information about home visiting services and connects identified caregivers to local community resources. They also take photos. They provide caregivers with essential baby supplies, baby bath, a baby bag, diapers, any baby basic items to help them bring the baby home while the mother goes back to YCI. Most recent, also expanding services to include monthly weekend mommy and me groups at YCI for infants and toddlers to promote bonding and attachment together. Together, these efforts ensures mothers, infant, and de-identified caregiver receive consistent, compassionate support during this time. Next. We have a few quotes from participants, and I'm not going to read all of them, but I will highlight the last one here, but not least. I can't imagine this whole thing without my doula in these groups. I am a better mom now. Next. I wasn't sure that I can still parent because my son is 9. But no matter the age, there's always time to repair relationship with my child. I'll always be mom, and I can be his circle of security. Next. I am so blessed and proud to share that in the recent years, we've moved from imagining change to building it through circle of security model, doula supports, home visiting, and YCI family center programs. This progress is possible because state leaders believe in the work. Community partners show up every day, and mothers themselves choose to engage, share their stories, and trust the process. Their strength is what drives real change, a generational change. It takes forward thinking, leadership, a shared vision, and the resilience of women we serve, regardless of circumstances. Working together, make this transformation real. And thank you.
Many thanks to you, Luz, to you and to Michelle. Thank you so much for this very enlightening, informative presentation of Circle of Security and the power of doulas. Certainly magical work is happening there. And I'm struck by the last quote you shared that a parent said, "I'll always be his mom and his circle of security." Thank you so very much for helping to make that possible. And now it is my honor to transition and to pass the microphone over to a wonderful teammate who is going to allow us to see more of how Circle of Security works. Passing it over to Karen Pascal, who is the Connecticut Head Start Collaboration Office Director and wonderful teammate. Karen, passing it over to you.
Thank you so much, Lorna. Hi, everyone. Really happy to be with you today. Circle of Security has been an important part of both my professional and personal life, and I have witnessed firsthand the meaningful impact it can have on children and families, including my own. It is an honor to introduce today's video vignette. This powerful piece highlights Skylar and Alyssa, 2 mothers navigating a challenging chapter in their lives. Their experiences show how doula support and Circle of Security can foster care, guidance, and connection. Here are their stories.
I'm Skylar Grant. I'm 35 years old. I have 4 children, ages 18, 14, 6, and 2. They are very, very, very charismatic. I love them so much. They all have different personalities. One is in college, the 18-year-old. My 14-year-old is a boxer and he plays basketball. And the 6-year-old is just being a big sister to the 2-year-old. What it means to me to be a mom is really kind of special, to nurture and to provide, to be able to protect. It means so much for me to be a mom. Circle of Security was a wonderful group that I engaged with. Honestly, being a mom before, I thought I had all the knowledge of being a mom, but Circle of Security helped me understand the purpose of letting your kids grow and go through the stages of life and childhood. It's okay to let them wander. It's because they're going to come back because we're their security. So I felt like the group was definitely helpful. I learned a couple things that I should have been known as a mom, but Circle Security helped me gain the knowledge of being a great mom. Honestly, I thought I was the perfect mom. I thought I knew it all. And like I mentioned previously, this group definitely helped me understand more of parenting, like the shark music. That was one of my favorites. So the shark music, to me, it was like what most mothers go through. Like, we have anxiety. We have like these moments where we're worried about our kid exploring the world. So say like if I was at a beach and I'm having this shark music going on through my head because I don't want my child too close to the water or too deep into the water. So the shark music go off. But I think the shark music is just making us aware of, like, it's okay, it's okay to be afraid of what your child is going through. It's okay. Like, that's what all parents go through. So the shark music is very tense, but it definitely levels out. So right now I am incarcerated. I feel like this group was important and should be important to most incarcerated mothers because we're stripped from being a mom. We're stripped from nurturing. We're stripped from providing. And this group makes us aware of it's only temporary. You still are a mother. It's temporary, and it gives you the skills and it prepares you for life and continuing being a mom. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah, but so far I've been here almost 2 years. May it'll be 2 years. Yeah, I have a date coming up in April that I'm really excited about. I believe I will make parole because I'm very active in the community. I'm not, a troublesome inmate. And I believe my time is gonna be here soon. My first thing is cooking for my kids, because I was like to my 6-year-old, I said, "You miss mommy?" She said, "Yes." I said, "What do you miss about mommy?" She's like, "Your chicken and rice." So my goal is definitely to prepare a meal for them and just spend quality time. So my 2 youngest, they share the same dad. They're living with their dad. I have a 14-year-old son. He's with my twin sister, and the oldest is in college in Baltimore. Well, scholarship. She runs track, and she's going for law. Yeah. So I'm a proud mom, but sad at the same time. I take it as a few because, like I mentioned, this is only temporary. And I have so many big dreams and goals that I feel like I have to make them because, like, my kids are getting older. Like, I can't keep making this revolving door of being incarcerated and being separated from them and making promises. Like, I want to hold true to my promises that I'm making to them. Like, I can't keep lying and, So I prepared to do better. I have a great support system. Since being here, I've gained like so much knowledge and done classes as far as like doing college courses and Defy, a business class. So I'm prepared mentally. I'm ready physically. So I'm just ready. I'm prepared. I feel like I have goals now. Like, before I was just living life as day to day. Now I have goals and I'm looking forward to making them and setting. I don't even really think that the group is like related to like my childhood, because my mom, she was always working, so her schedule was from 11 at night to 7 in the morning, so we was always with others. Like, my grandmother was basically the one that helped my mom raise us. But as far as like being a nurturer, I don't think my mom was a nurturer. I believe she was more of a provider instead of being a nurturer. Like, my grandmother was the one nurturing us, cooking for us and stuff like that, while my mom worked the third shift job. And my dad, he was always like in and out of prison, and when he was around, he provided, but he wasn't a nurturer either. But I loved him all the same, and I I always take what I was brought up on and try to be different. Like, I don't want to be just a provider. I want to be a nurturer. But like, that's where I noticed that we kind of relate, because I see myself being a provider and not a nurturer. So this class helped me identify things that I need to be aware of and things that I need to accomplish and things that I want to be. Like, I want to be a better mom. I want to be a better nurturer. I want to be able to take trips and, make memories. Like, I want to definitely build new memories. I just want to let you mothers know that it's never too late to be the mom that you always wanted to be. Personally, me, speaking for self, I have not been the best mom, but I've always been there, always. I had DCF involvements, family issues, addiction problems, and I just felt like, even dealing with grief, my mom passed away 2017, and around that time I just felt like, it wasn't good. But I felt like I gave up on myself, and honestly, I was living with so much hate and, guilt and shame, but I took this time being here as find yourself, do something for yourself, be, you can't help nobody unless you help yourself. So I signed up for college courses, I signed up for entrepreneur class, I put myself voluntarily into all the programs, NAAA, parenting classes. None of this was stipulated for me. I helped myself. So I just want the mothers to know that it's never too late to be the mom I always wanted to be. And I'm speaking for self too, because like, I'm actually excited to go home to be that mom that I always wanted to be.
My name is Alyssa. My son is 3, turning 4 at the end of this year in October. Being a mom has meant everything to me. My life changed about 3.5 years ago, and it has been the most amazing experience since, and I love every moment of it. Circle of security is really in all aspects to me. I find it in my family, I find it in my friends, I find it in my community. It means the circle around you that's helping support you. They say it takes a village to raise children, and it really does. So the more support you can find for that most important job you're ever going to do, the more successful I think you will be, and the more supported you'll feel. I spent 2.5 years at York Correctional Institution. I arrived there and I had no idea I was pregnant. So along with all the trauma of becoming incarcerated and leaving my family and the shame behind my crime, I also found out I was potentially bringing a baby into the world. I felt very alone and ashamed. And so to have the circle of security and to have such great staff and people around me to encourage me to keep going and not to be so afraid meant everything to me. I had considered giving him up for adoption because I just did not think that I was going to be able to step into a mom role in that situation. And the entire circle of security around me is what kept me going. They never said you could do this, but they were like, if you do this, you're going to be great. So I can never thank anybody enough for all of the support I had while I was in there. And now here we are 3.5 years later, and I have my mini-me as a shadow every day, and I just can't imagine my life going any other way. So I was actually over 200 pounds at the time, and I was, very overweight. I was not taking care of myself in any way, shape, or form prior to becoming incarcerated. And so he was actually breached inside of me. So he never flipped over or anything like that. And I had no idea that I was pregnant. I thought, I feel a little bit weird, but I think I'm just, so anxious about becoming incarcerated. So when I got there, I was 7 months pregnant. So I was very far along in the pregnancy. Yep. So And it was the most miraculous situation though, because any differently, and I don't know if I would have gone through with it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that my higher power did everything exactly how it needed to be. I needed to not know ahead of time. I needed to be in the situation I was, because I met all of the people that I needed to meet to become the person that should be that little boy's mother. Yeah, it was just the most miraculous situation. It's crazy. Once I had found out I was pregnant, obviously I was very hysterical for days, you know, not knowing what to do. And that's when I was introduced to the Office of Early Childhood and the doulas. And at the time, COVID was also happening. So it was very lockdown-esque situation within the facility, very isolated. So you're already kind of isolated from your family, becoming incarcerated. Then there was additional isolation procedures because of the COVID. So we met virtually, and they immediately were just big smiling faces, and just no matter what, you know, because my situation at the time seemed so crazy, and they were just like, oh no, like, we're here, whatever you need, let us know. So it was just, they made me feel way more comfortable talking about my situation and kind of erasing the shame out of it. You know, I'm a pregnant, incarcerated person, and I don't know what's going to happen with my life or where it's going to go from here. And it was almost like that circle of security that was just, here you go, like, we're here, we kind of understand what you're going through, and we're here to support you through whatever it is. And then once the facility opened back up and the doulas were able to come in, it was just so beautiful, like the way they worked with the pregnant mothers and then the postpartum mothers, and the whole program itself, just to watch it blossom, because it kind of started right then and there. Really picking up and gaining its traction within the facility. So, yeah, I loved working with them so much, and I'm so thankful. I think that the circle of security, like, came at a time in my life where I was isolating myself without even knowing it on the outside. And so being kind of stripped of all my comforts and essentially my old life, and being thrust into this new role as a mother gave me what I needed, like, to become the person that my son needed. And with the circle of security, I had that support, I had that backbone, I had that encouragement. And as a first-time mom too, I would have had no idea what to do. So it was nice to feel like I had a resource to always go back to and fall back on. And I know no matter how I was feeling about a situation, I had people that were understanding of it. And I had people that were not going to shame me for the way I felt or for how I got to this position or whatever it may be. I just had a friend, you know. Just about the entire incarceration, I had like notebooks upon notebooks of things I was going to do with my son and all of these things that were super exciting. I had a really great relationship with him during my incarceration that I'm super thankful for. Part of it is the Office of Early Childhood and Circle of Security had some other groups that went on at the facility. Some other programs went on there for mother and child, which was amazing. I had supportive family, thankfully, that was bringing him to see me. I would talk to him on the phone every day. So pretty much from birth, he knew my voice. We really worked hard to maintain that bond, even though we were distant. And so I could not wait to get out and just do whatever it was with him. And day one, we were just in the car laughing, having a good time, and we've been thick as thieves since. So when people think that the distance is what matters, it's not. It's the effort you put in. I was coloring random pages and sending that home so my family could open it and say, oh, mom sent this, mom sent that. And I know that not everybody has that kind of support group, but the fact that Circle of Security and Office of Early Childhood offers those things to people who maybe don't have the family that'll do that, I think is so amazing, because that's what it is. Hearing from your mother, seeing things given to you from your mother, even if it's a random crochet item, that's what builds the bond. It's the presence, not so much the physical closeness. I definitely made sure that even if I couldn't be there, he felt me there. And again, with a higher power, I would always send messages kind of out into the universe to get to my son in hopes that he would feel it too. it was a whole eye-opening experience where I did kind of find my spirituality, my mental health, my physical well-being. Once I had him, I was obsessed with my body. I've never worked out so much in my entire life. I started eating healthy, considering, the food that's offered there. I did my best, working out, I just blew into, oh my God, like I need to get my life together for this little boy and come home a totally different person. And it's amazing like what just a little mindset shift can do, because now I still, do my best to take care of my body. I still am doing therapy. I still do that. I ended up getting a job about a month after getting out on parole as a housekeeper. I started here as a housekeeper in the laundry services. And a year later, an office position opened up. I resubmitted my resume and now they knew how I worked and I was able to move into a higher up office position. So it's important to not get discouraged when you're in the low point of this beautiful experience, because it does get so much better if you just keep going. When I had found out, I was terrified to tell my family. I already felt like I shamed them by doing the things I did and ending up where I was. So again, I resorted to the isolation, but through the encouragement of some counselors at the facility and through the Circle of Security and the Office of Early Childhood, they encouraged me that I'm scaring myself out of a closeness that I could have. So after I had him again, whole world changed. I picked up the phone and I hysterically called my dad, and they were upset that I didn't tell them that I had gone, months within the facility dealing with this on my own. I think that was where the hurt was. But ultimately, my aunt, who I was very close with always growing up as well, she was able to do the transition to take care of my son full time for me. And she lives out here kind of closer to the facility than my dad and everything. So it was amazing. Like there was definitely some friction in the beginning, but to see everybody come together for this little boy was just a phenomenal experience that I will never forget. If you were to meet me 5 years ago, I was the girl always at the local bar. I was just out with friends. I just had no care for anything other than myself. And it takes the worst moment of your life to change your mindset on how small you are in comparison to the rest of the world. And I think it's preconceived that bad people go to bad places. I don't think that's true. I think all people are capable of making mistakes, and it's all about choices. And even those people who ended up in the correctional institutions, man or woman, there is a chance for them to turn their life around. They just need to be given a reason for it. For me, it was my son. Just knowing that I grew this tiny little human inside of my body changed my entire life. But I had the Circle of Security and the supports there to remind me of that and show me that. I think that the more we invest into programs like this and getting people this support, that maybe they don't have the family support. So the more we can get the programming and the facilities to kind of help out with that, I think more people will be encouraged. And again, just keep going. If you look at me compared to back then, I'm a totally different person. I don't think anybody thinks, I consider myself successful now. I'm a full-time mom and a full-time worker, and I'm doing everything I can to make my son and my life better. So I don't think anybody should assume anything about anybody in their worst moments, because it's what you make of that worst moment, if you stay there or if you keep going.
Wow. Between Skylar and Alyssa's story, I don't know how we could not be touched by hearing their experience and how they've turned it into a positive outcome. Thank you so very much, Skylar and Alyssa, for sharing your powerful stories with us about how Circle of Security has empowered you And with that, let us hear more from teammates that have helped in so many ways behind the scenes. And in doing so, we're getting prepared for our panel discussion. And it is my honor to reintroduce Dr. Luz Rivera, who will facilitate the panel discussion and will introduce our panelists. Luz, passing it over to you.
Thank you, Lorna. I have the blessing to facilitate the panel, and our panelists consist of a correctional officer, Ms. Annette FICO, Michelle Ramos, Ashley Minahan, the lead Empower Beginning doula, Laura Cotto, our clinical supervisor, home visitor at L&M, and Warden Sexton at DOC-YCI. So welcome everybody to our panel. And I'm going to kick off the panel with the first question, and it's going to be applied for everyone here. And so the first question is, please tell us a little about yourself. What agency do you work with, and what is your role there? So can we start with Warden Sexton, please?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Trina Sexton. I'm the warden at York CI, and I oversee all programs and operations there.
Thank you. Michelle.
Hi again, Michelle Ramos. I'm the counselor supervisor at YCI that oversees programs and treatment, volunteer services, and the pregnancy tier.
Annette.
Hi, Annette Fico, correction officer at York CI for a little over 18 years. I maintain safety and security not only at the facility, but at local hospitals, whether it's L&M or at Yale, when an inmate does go to have her child. I am with them there at least 16 hours a day along with Ashley, and together we make sure the inmate is comfortable and this transition goes well for them before going back to the facility also.
Thank you, Annette. Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Cotto. I'm the clinical supervisor for the Nurturing Families Home Visiting Program at Lawrence Memorial Hospital. And we're part of Yale New Haven Health System and the primary birthing hospital for the moms that are incarcerated at York. And in my role, I'm lucky that I kind of get to touch families in a number of ways at York with our Circle of Security classes, at the hospital at the time of birth. And sometimes when we're lucky, we get to follow the babies home until they enter kindergarten.
Thank you. Ashley.
Hi, I'm Ashley Minahan. I own Empowered Beginnings, and my program supports the women who are birthing. We do the prenatal programs, the postpartum programs, and we also run Circle of Security at the facility.
Thank you. So the second question this week, March 22nd through the 28th, is known across the world as the World Doula Week. It is an opportunity to raise awareness and to talk about all the benefits of pre and birth and postnatal supports that a doula provides for women. And so when you think about doulas, what role do they play within your respective work environment? Annette, can you respond to that question, please?
I could. As an officer, I'm only allowed to and able to do so much for this inmate when she is in the process of in labor or at the hospital. I think we all know, if we are mothers, when you're in labor or in a situation like this, you want a loved one by your side, your spouse, your children, your parents, and they can't have that. So I'm only allowed to some extent to do what I have to do without crossing that fine line of undue familiarity as an officer. And so having these programs for 8 to 10 weeks with the doulas, the inmate forms a rapport and a relationship with them, and they're their family, their familiar face, and their safety net during this time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would like to have Michelle.
Hi. Yes, I'm so pleased to be able to work with the doulas, and being in contact with the women on the tier. They always have so many questions and uncertainties, and it's nice for them to have somebody that knows what to say and what to do, and help them along with this situation.
Thank you, Michelle. And I would love for Ashley to kind of share her perspective as to lead doula.
Sure. I see the role of a doula as really unconditional support for somebody who's going through something that is very, very, very intense. Our goal is to increase attachment and reduce trauma. And I definitely could not do this work alone. I have such an amazing team of other doulas that work with me, especially with this population. This population is really hard to work with. And so we are doulaing each other through these births because they are hard, they are sad. And so to have the support of the other doulas that I work with, it can be a real game changer for our self-care and mental health.
Thank you, Ashley. A doula really does support mothers to navigate during that time of birth. And sometimes challenges do come up. And so to be able to advocate for them and offer them some options during that journey, I think is a critical part of a doula. So thank you so much for all that you do. I have another question for you all. Incarcerated women are high risk population. Correctional staff have the lowest life expectancy of all first responders. How has the doula and the circle of security helped improve the wellness for the mothers impacted by incarcerated and correctional staff? I would love to hear your perspective, starting with Warden Sexton, please.
Sure. I'd like to answer this from the perspective of the wellness of correctional staff. So we go through an academy. We train for a plethora of situations we may encounter inside the walls. And when things go wrong, we show up as a team to handle any emergency there is. Now, picture a correction officer who is sent to the hospital because an incarcerated woman is in labor. This officer is often alone, and CO FICO has already attested to that, in the room, and she is responsible for safety and security. Now, before the doulas, it's easy to see how like this officer could be torn. And that's torn between the requirement to maintain professional boundaries and the feelings that she has as a woman, a human being, when she sees another woman, regardless of what she did to be in prison, labor alone without the support of her family. I know our staff have jumped in, held a woman's hand at times and provided encouragement the best way that they could. And that's stressful enough in an easy birth and not exactly part of their job spec. But with this high risk population, we know that births are not always easy and some are very traumatic. This is a huge effect of our staff. The facility being away from, they're at the hospital, they're away from the facility, they're separated from the supports they have from their coworkers. And adding another layer, this officer may have her own struggles with her maternal journey and witnessing trauma and possibly reliving her own at the same time. Our staff have left their houses for work, not knowing that a few hours later, they would be in a helicopter with a mother who's being life flighted to a higher level trauma center to save her life. They have sat in the back of ambulances as they've watched paramedics and EMTs do everything they can to help save the life of a woman and her unborn baby, or in one instance, babies. The officers have seen beautiful, beautiful births, but they've also seen tragedy, birth complications, extreme blood loss, and unfortunately, loss of life. And the mental and physical toll this takes on our staff is devastating. The presence of the doulas has helped improve the wellness of not only the mothers, but our staff. And they have been a source of support and helped our staff, including me, navigate very complex and traumatic situations. The doulas are there for the mother, yet they are women who recognize when another woman is silently struggling. And that woman may be the one wearing the badge in the room, or the warden worrying about her staff, the mother and the baby. And, Ashley and the doulas answer the call for us too, every time. And as a warden, I cannot thank them enough for how they support the officers, the women, and us. And it has made the world of difference in improving all of our wellness.
Thank you, Warden Sexton. It really does take a village, and it starts with the doula all the way up to the chain of command. And it is an honor to collaborate with the Department of Corrections and really supporting these efforts. And I would like for Ashley Minahan to also have an opportunity to respond to the question.
Sure. It's interesting to be at a birth when somebody doesn't have any other support people with them, except for the corrections officer in the room. I think that lots of times these moms have known the corrections officer, so they do have a bit of a relationship with them, but it is obviously very, very different than the relationship that I can have with them at a birth and that we can have. And so we really are able to work together. And I know so many times I've entered a birth and the CO has said, "Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. She really needs you." They definitely recognize our role, and I feel like they're able to do their jobs better because they're not feeling torn between needing to, be the only person in the room with this mom having a baby and also maintaining their job of being the corrections officer.
Thank you, Ashley. I also would love to have Laura kind of share her perspective and to answer the question.
Sure. I would like to speak about Circle of Security in particular. And I think that the skills that are being learned through Circle of Security are far reaching. We go in there and our goal is to teach parents the skills to repair their relationships with their children or to understand the meaning of their children's behaviors. But those same skills that they're learning really impact every other relationship in their life. So when they're learning to recognize their own emotional triggers or pause before reacting to something that's upsetting, or just even reflecting on the deeper meaning behind the behaviors of others, those are skills that can also translate to, their partners that are at home, the person who's sharing the same room with them at York, or the corrections officer that's talking to them. And I think that when they're able to have strong family relationships, that's one of the key protective factors that reduces behaviors that, are linked to reoffending. And so just overall, it impacts every single relationship and the way we interact with others, which can be helpful for everyone.
Absolutely. It's all about the relationships. Michelle, would you like an opportunity to respond as the counselor supervisor?
Yeah, I've seen quite a connection with the doulas and the residents here at YCI, but not just the residents, but with the staff. And I know that Officer Fico can attest to that. It has created great relationships and kind of have brought everything and everyone full circle. So we're all following and leading ourselves to the same mission.
Thank you. And that you have had 18 years experience in the correctional facility. And now you're seeing at YCI, and now you're seeing Circle of Security and all the supports that are now being offered. We'd love to hear your perspective around
Well,
Circle of
again,
Security.
sure. Like Ashley said, we've worked side by side over these years, and I was with Ashley actually the time the inmate did give birth to a stillborn baby. And so, yes, she was there for the inmate, but she was also there for me. Warden Sexton was there. She called me immediately. EAU called me. It was to this actually when I seen Ashley yesterday, January was 2 years ago that happened. And it's still it's still in the back of my head. It's nothing I'll ever forget in my whole career. And when I see Ashley every, at least once a week, twice a week, we always meet on the walkway. Hey, how are you? I said, I tell her, hey, I was at the hospital yesterday, actually Sunday and Monday with an inmate at Yale who's high risk, who's having complications. And and I said, hey, listen, she's having complications and she just got sent out back to the hospital yesterday. Like she said, her relationship doesn't end and start with the inmate. It's also with the officers also. And there's not a time that doesn't go by where we see each other. Hey, how are you? How's everything going? Are you okay? And like I said, she's not only there for the inmates, but she is there for staff also.
Thank you. I think the communication, the coordination, and holding each other during those times, I think is a critical part of that process. And I appreciate every single role you play to supporting women that are impacted by incarceration. So the next question, how has the doulas and Circle of Security helped change the culture at YCI? And I would love to have Warden Sexton answer the question, please.
Sure. I think I should probably touch on just correctional culture to begin with before I dive into the York culture. Correctional culture has historically been described as a pendulum, which has swung back and forth between different ideologies. So at the most extreme being incapacitation. So lock them up and throw away the key, to where we are now in practices based in rehabilitation, restorative justice, and human dignity. We know that incapacitation doesn't work. So ignoring the needs of the incarcerated population, especially women, is a near guarantee that they would be back in prison. The result, families are separated, communities are impacted, and a different approach is clearly needed. As a result, there was a necessary shift in core beliefs and values to not only invest in the incarcerated, but to help strengthen families and communities when they return. And at York, we built upon that framework for pregnant mothers. Before we took over our respective roles, we didn't have a centralized housing location for pregnant and postpartum women or women who are pumping. And there were pockets of support for those women. And if a woman chose to pump, they were isolated in the infirmary and could not go to work, could not go to school. We initiated a centralized housing location in close proximity to medical for our pregnant, pumping and postpartum women. We worked to normalize breastfeeding and pumping, so women could go to school, work, and still pump like women do in the community, like I did when I balanced my two babies, my education, and my career. OEC, the doulas, the services they provide are key components to the positive cultural transformation at York. The results are just amazing, in my opinion. So we have robust prenatal and postpartum education and support systems, birthing and lactation support, caregiver support, a system that supports secure attachments, parenting efficacy, and support for our frontline staff. And I can't reiterate how important that is. Having the equipment and supplies needed to promote pumping. And we've seen awesome outcomes with that. Women had gone from maybe a couple weeks when pumping in the infirmary to well over 18 months and still going strong. Having the support of the experts has allowed us to continue the momentum in driving additional change to better the needs of incarcerated mothers, their babies, and their families.
Thank you, Warden Sexton. And I hope it continues and I hope it enhances as we continue to build families so it can echo right into the community. And so thank you so much for all that you do. I have one last question for everybody as we're near closing our webinar here. And I love to hear from you around the African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Recognizing that many individuals and agencies who've worked together supporting mothers who are incarcerated, did you find the collaboration or teamwork helpful? If so, how and why is working together as a team important? Laura, would you like to kick us off in our last question?
Sure. So I think each of our agencies and perspectives are really different, and sometimes it can feel like we're not even speaking the same language. But we've been able to be, vulnerable with each other and ask questions and hear different perspectives on things. And then when we all are collaborating in that way, we're able to identify gaps in care and really pull together with each other, pull experts in from our fields, and develop solutions that can really improve things for the moms. So for me, it's been incredible to work with just such wonderful people. But I also think, when thinking about that proverb, it also rings true for society. And we're not all born with the same resources and the same family supports. And when we all work together, empower each other and uplift each other, we really do all win.
Thank you, Laura. Annette, would you like to add to the response to the question?
Sure. Like Laura said, when there's a gap, whether it's in care, whether it's in, wherever it is, when you work together, whatever I don't see or I pick up, Counselor Supervisor Ramos might see, or Ashley might see, or Warden Sexton might see, if there's no point in working against each other, because it's just not going to work. We're going to fail. But, we need to work together to make it successful and to make, the transition easy and comfortable. And, it just doesn't work if you don't work together.
I think that shared belief in the work that we're doing together is driving us to continue the work, and that somebody can easily pick up from where they left off and continue the work, I think is an important factor of this work and effort. And so Ashley Menahan, would you like to contribute?
Sure. Just like Laura said, we all are looking at this from our own perspective and our own roles. But we have the shared vision in mind of providing these wraparound services for these families so that we're giving the babies the best start. And we couldn't do it without each other because we all are coming at this from a little bit of a different standpoint. And so we all work together in order to make sure everybody's needs are met.
Each of us have our own strengths, our own expertise, and our own skill set, and together, collectively, we worked really good together. Michelle, sorry.
So yes, women coming in here, they have to feel quite alone. And then when they realize all these resources and all these people that are here to support them and help them, it's got to be such a relief. I came into this program here just a couple years ago, and a lot of this had been in place. And when I learned I was going to oversee this population of women, I was like, oh my God, what do I even do? But when I was introduced to Ashley and everyone else, I realized it's a team, it's a support, and it's a family. Mm-hmm. So we all feel alone at times, but knowing that we have somebody to reach out really helps us guide us through this journey.
Thank you, Michelle. And I have to add that listening to our Alyssa, it came through, right? How she felt the circle of security the entire time, even knowing when she entered the facility, not knowing that she was expecting. And it literally carried her through that journey, and how well she is doing as well. And Skylar really speaks to the volume of this togetherness and bringing each of us our own skill set and expertise. So I thank you so much for your time and support. And let's continue. And I'll turn it over to Lorna.
Thank you, Luz. I'm still trying to absorb all the wonderful words that our panelists have shared. I owe you all one off screen. I wanted to look at your lovely faces. Trina Sexton, Ashley Menahan, Laura Cotto, Michelle Ramos, Annette FICO. Thank you so very much for being a part of this panel discussion, of sharing such wonderful words of inspiration and motivation. I think what's so beautiful is how human you all are, and how human you are encouraging those you work with to be. The level of authenticity, the level of genuineness, the level of just realness is just beautiful in talking about the reality of bringing life into the world and challenges we may face along the way. Thank you so very much. But also want to extend our thanks and appreciation to so many that have helped to make today's webinar possible. As I share thank yous, you will see on the screen QR codes to access our webinar survey, because we certainly want to receive your feedback regarding not only this survey, this webinar, but suggestions of future topics as well. But again, with today's webinar, so thank you very much, Diana Reyes, for providing instructions on how to access interpretation. Thank you, Paola and Jasmine from NWI for providing interpretive services. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner Deb Bliss, for your warm welcome remarks. And of course, to our keynote speaker, Craig Washington. My, oh my, such power you shared. And boy, you just really inspired us to recognize the importance of this work and of doing it for a shared vision and purpose. Thank you, Mr. Washington. And of course, thank you, Dr. Luz Rivera and Michelle Ramos, for providing an overview of Circle of Security. And thank you, Karen Pascal, for introducing our wonderful video vignette stories. And with that, we must, of course, thank Skylar and Alyssa. Thank you both for allowing yourselves to be vulnerable, to share your stories, to help inspire so many. Thank you both so very much. And again, to our panelists, thank you again, Dr. Luz Rivera, for facilitating a powerful panel discussion with Warden Trina Sexton, Ashley Minahan, Laura Cotto, Michelle Ramos, and Annette Fico. Thank you all collectively for all that you do for so many, not only in this current generation, but feeding into generations to come. And of course, we want to thank our teammates behind the scenes. Eloisa Melendez, thank you for managing all things Zoom related. Of course, Team O'Donnell and UConn School of Social Work Innovations Institute. Thank you for your collective support of the webinar, webinar editing, and our webinar surveys. And with that, last but of course not least, thank all of you for being with us at this time, whether live or watching a recording. Thank you for taking the time out to recognize the importance of Circle of Security for all of us, for the importance of investing in our children as early as possible, because our early connections and relationships are so powerful to help us as we shape our young people as they grow into adults who will lead us. We cannot do this without you. We thank you for your ongoing support, your ongoing compassion. And with that, we'll pause for now, and we look forward to seeing you when we come together again. Thank you all so very much. Please be well.